Good morning, and welcome to Brewing Happiness as we settle into the new 8 o'clock time slot as we get used to the new microphone. This is Tina Ann, the Queen of Happiness, and I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about grace. Do you know grace? The idea of grace, the gift of grace, the presence of grace. I'm fascinated by it and have been since I was a small child. And so here's the Webster's dictionary definition of grace is simple elegance or refinement of movement. She moved through the water with effortless grace. Or courteous goodwill. At least he has the grace to admit his debt to her. And finally, as a verb, do honor or credit to someone or something by one's presence. She bowed out from the sport she has graced for 2 decades. All very nice definitions, but they don't include the grace of forgiveness or the grace of allowance or tolerance or looking past shortcomings or mistakes or just indiscretions or even bad behavior, right? Grace is the idea that, well, it's the idea that we offer love, compassion, and forgiveness in spite of bad behavior, right? Isn't that really what grace is? Whatever the cause of that bad behavior or whatever it is, or bad that needs to be overlooked behavior or whatever. Um, that is grace, right? Is looking past that. I know in the last couple of days, I've talked a little bit about the soul versus ego idea that we are born, the ego, me, and the soul, see the world. It's a bigger place. You're a part of the universe. You're a child of God, right? And these two are these are the two little elves, little angels, little whatever's on our shoulder, constantly choosing between it, that we are constantly choosing between, right? And grace, in my book, in my definition, means going with the soul, right? Leaning in towards the soul's version of compassion, forgiveness. We are all connected. As I treat my brother, so he treats me, taking care of the least among us, yada yada yada. Um, so this is my definition of grace, right? Is that my mom used to say, okay, so this is where I want to start. When I was a little girl, one of the things my mom said to me almost every day was, way to go, Grace. And I can't tell you how much that defined me for her. Good morning, Christopher. I can't tell you how much that defined me, that way to go, Grace, which to her was just a funny line, but to me meant I was clumsy and not graceful and not beautiful and did not move well, and all kinds of other messages that came with that. But then my mom also said, on the other side of that, she also said, we need love most when we deserve it the least. And the truth is, ain't that the truth, right? That acting out bad behavior, thoughtlessness, disregard for others, those things are generally cries for help. They are signs that there's something going on that's not happy inside of that person, right? And looking past that and just seeing that child of God, just seeing that soul silhouette, ignoring the shadow of the ego, the whatever bad behavior is happening at that moment, and just seeing that soul, that is grace, right? That is grace. So I have long been fascinated with this idea of grace, this idea of where do we come up with the grace? Where do we come up with the inner fortitude, the strength to offer that grace, not just to those we love, but to everyone we meet, and even and especially to ourselves, right? Where is the strength to come up with that grace? Well, that's a great question. Where is the strength to come up with the grace? That strength comes from recognizing the grace that has been shown to you in your life. In my book, that's my tool. That's my go-to is when I'm frustrated with someone or unhappy or annoyed or, whatever it is, and I'm tempted to start the blame game and start thinking about, oh, ho all the things that has been done, what's been done to me, blah, blah, yada, yada, yada. I think about a time when I've behaved badly or when I have hurt someone or when I have been thoughtless and I was forgiven and someone looked past it, didn't mention it, let it go, offered, accepted my apology with grace. And then you're like, well, that's the way it works, right? Remember how great that felt? Oh, remember the relief when you faced somebody that had every reason to be unhappy with you, and yet they saw you and loved you and let your bad behavior fall away. Um, and you felt so grateful and so relieved and so much love for that person and a little bit of compassion for yourself. If they can forgive me, then I can forgive myself, right? So That's the that's the name of the game in my book, Grace. When we talk about what makes happiness, it's our relationships. What makes great relationships? Compassion, right? Love and compassion. Seeing the small child, seeing the intent, seeing the the child of God, the silhouette of soul. Eckhart Tolle, I talked about this yesterday. Eckhart Tolle offered this view of people where the soul and the goodness and the intention and the divine, the divinity, the spark, the connection with the world bigger than us, the universe, is represented as a shimmering lit silhouette of the person in all their potential, their in all their unrealized potential that maybe they're still struggling with, right? Maybe they're still struggling with some stuff. Okay. Well, that struggle then is represented by a shadow, or I see it as like a dark vapor, but maybe it formalizes and becomes bodily, and then I see that we're back to the recriminations, right? To the bad behavior. And if you can stop yourself from going to, well, that son of a bitch, kind of a feeling like, oh my God, I can't believe you did that to me. If you can stop yourself from going there and consciously say to yourself, I'm going to see the soul. I'm going to see the silhouette. I'm going to love the child of God and just kind of ignore the bad behavior, with the caveat, of course, that I'm not saying you should be a doormat. You have boundaries. You get to say what relationships you'll be in. You get to say, you know what, I'm done with this conversation. I don't want to hear it anymore. But then, like I said, perfectly fine to protect yourself. But the difference is, instead of walking away with that son of a bitch, I can't believe, blah, 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 you walk away with love and compassion for whatever inner turmoil is causing them to be in that shadow side of themselves versus in that lighted side of themselves. And for me, this is how I operate, or I should say, strive to operate. Well, ain't none of us gets there all the time, right? Ain't none of us gets to says that we actually achieve grace at every time. But what we're talking about is that we're striving for it, right? That we're striving to be a person who is full of grace, is so full of the grace, of the gratitude, of the blessings of life, of just being alive, drawing a breath, knowing you have God's love, knowing you have people around you who love and support you, knowing that you are the recipient of a blessed life, right? If you're focusing on that, that's how you're filling up the grace bucket. That's how you're filling up the bucket that says, I am so blessed that and have got in touch with the side of me that is connected to everyone and everything, that now I get to offer that to others, right? I want to offer that vision, that peace, that that beauty to everyone I see. And you don't do that by that son of a bitch. And I'm not even actually talking about the words we say. Really talking even our thoughts. Thoughts are things. Thoughts have power. So even thinking those things, doing damage. Doing damage to yourself and others. Putting out negative energy that is lowering the vibration of you and those around you. Stop it. So grace. How do we show it? How do we offer it? How do we get more for ourselves? And then as we get it for ourselves, if it's for the purpose of having a full bank, so we can offer it to those around us. So here's a couple of ideas for giving grace, for showing grace. So the first one is the simplest. My mantra, I will say it every day of my life, is be kind. Be kind. There's no excuse for not lack of kindness. There's no excuse for not being kind ever. That's just my blanket statement. And again, are we all kind all the time? No. No, that's our goal. Not necessarily where we end up, but the more we strive, the more we try, the kinder we are. And the kinder we are to one another, the more we're living in compassion and grace. Right? So be kind. It costs nothing. It's effortless. Okay, not effortless. Sometimes there's effort to be kind. Let's admit it. But it's worth it. It's worth it. It's exponentially goodness. Giving kindness is a pay it forward kind of thing that when you are kind to someone, it makes them in turn kind to those around them. So you can be the ripple effect. You can be the starter of the butterfly effect by simply fluttering your wings in kindness at every chance you get. And then be aware of what other people need around you, right? So I used to be a waitress. For a long time, I'm sorry, they don't say that waitress anymore. Now we say server. I was a food server for many, many years in my younger life. And I think I was fantastically successful. I made top tier tips no matter where I worked. I think one of the reasons was one of my skills was to read my table and see what they needed. Some folk want to be entertained. They're there staring at each other. It's a boring night. They want a little cute and adorable, right? They want a little something to talk about. Oh, that waitress, she's kind of crazy. Other people are really happy with what's going on. They're deep in discussion. They don't want you to, they're being cute and adorable. They want you to drop off the food and get lost. Other folks are dealing with kids and they're happy for a little bit of help. Other folks got control of their kids. They don't want you to step in and touch their people. So anyway, you read the table, you offer what they want. So that's my back to grace. Back to grace and kindness, the same thing, right? Read the people. What do they need? What sometimes we need a hug. Sometimes we need an ear. Sometimes we might actually even need advice. What do they need? Just being aware. Oh, excuse me, 1 second. I'm going to type for a second. Looking something up. Okay. Being aware of where you stand on things. Okay, there we go. Pulling up a poem to read later. Okay, where you stand on or how you look at things, just being aware of them, bringing them into your conscious level of awareness raises things. Just thinking about them raises so being aware of others, just opening yourself up to focusing, not being all about yourself, right? Looking at people, making that assessment, reading their emotions, their body language, their behavior, and being there for what they need, the hug, the word, the quiet. Simple kindness or simple allowance, right? Again, seeing the soul, not the ego, and letting it go. And that's the next one, right? Letting it go. Let it go. Let it go. I'd sing more, but I don't know the words to that song, but that is the mantra. Let it go. I love this statement. I love this quote. Holding a grudge is like eating poison and hoping the other person dies. A little dark, but still we get the idea, right? Holding a grudge is hurting them and you, and there's no reason for it. Learn to let it go. Learn to forgive. Grace is forgiveness. And then just be there. Just be there when your friend needs somebody. Be the guy that's available at the other end of the phone. I need a lift. I need a shoulder to cry on. I need a cheering up. I need someone to have a drink with me. Be the guy who's there for others because you want them to be there when you call. Be there and forgive. Just forgiveness. How big? There's nothing bigger than forgiveness. There's nothing bigger. Okay, I have to say it again. There's nothing bigger than forgiveness, right? In the 1-2 punch of happiness, forgive. The first one is forgive everyone for everything, including yourself. Right? Let it go. Chalk it up to the past. It's a lesson. What did you learn from it? What are you never gonna do again because of it? What are you always gonna do because of it? Learn your lessons and move on, but don't drag that weight behind you, because the truth is that weight that you're dragging behind you impacts all those other things on the list. Your ability to be kind, your ability to be aware of other people and what they need, your ability to forgive, your ability to let it go, all wrapped up in forgiveness. And that goes for yourself. Ask for forgiveness. We're not perfect. When you get you some bad behavior, when you notice your own bad behavior, when you're like, "Ugh, I really wish I'd handled that differently." When you say, "Oh, allowed I really just reacted and didn't act in the way I wish I had." That's the time to say, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wish I hadn't said that. I'm sorry. I'd like to apologize for that thing I did," and ask for forgiveness. And then forgive yourself. Back to learn your lesson, move on. And in that same path, be careful with your words. Be careful. What could just be a funny statement, "Way to go, Grace," could have deep impacts on the people around you. Be kind with your words. Make sure even when you say something funny that not gonna hurt somebody's feelings, right? Be careful with what you say. And then gratitude. Gratitude, of course, on every list. Be happier, be more positive, be a better friend. Doesn't matter what the list is. Gratitude's always gonna be on it. So again, that gratitude, where gratitude falls in this picture, is gratitude is the vessel that you are filling up, that allows you to offer grace to others. So that's my show for today. Way to go, Grace. Offer that grace to everyone and everything in life, and see if you don't smile more, stand taller, stand stronger, because offering that grace is good for you as well as those around you. So, who can you show some grace to today? Where can you practice offering some grace? That's my challenge to you. Until tomorrow, make it a happy day.